Mike, it's an honor. Thank you. Nice job. I'm sorry that I let you go first, though. To follow that up, all I can do is use the words of Jim Shoemake, who said, "We won't have chicken at conference luncheons if I'm elected." That concludes my speech. Kidding. Well, we'll work on the chicken, but my name's Michelle Price. I'm the superintendent in the Moses Lake School District. I'm also the mother of 4 adult children, and I have a 2.5-year-old grandson, and have a very supportive family support system. Also in my work world, in that professional environment, I'm blessed to have an amazing leadership team in the Moses Lake School District. So shout out to them that are here today. Thank you very much. But when it comes down to that professional support system, what it really comes down to is WASA. What makes WASA such a great support system? It's every one of you. Looking at the many district office administrators who work hard, are intelligent, are dedicated to the children in our communities. We share ideas and experiences and learn from each other each and every day. Thank you to all who have served on the WASA board, been involved in WASA committees over the years. Certainly has laid a foundation for a very highly effective organization. I just finished my 25th year in education. I'm happy to report that each and every year has been distinctively different. Every year, every day. One thing that's been consistent is my alliance and membership and support with WASA, and I'm humbled and honored to be here with you today. There's no question we are in some extraordinary times in public education. For millions of students, the reality of a quality public education is their pathway to freedom from the environment or conditions for which they have no control over. The unprecedented attack on public education in our public schools is the very reason why we must collaborate and celebrate our successes. We must stand up for what we believe and tell the real story. Here's a glimpse of the real story. High school graduation rates are at the highest point in history. Dropout rates are at the lowest point in our history. NAEP scores are at this highest point for white, black, Hispanic, and Asian students. Yet the morale of our public school employees is at an all-time low. When we go home after today, it's going to be even worse. Highlighting the great accomplishments in November during the kickoff for the Focus on Education is a great start for us. But those same efforts need to be intentional and ongoing each and every day. Let's work together to tell that real story consistently all the time. The legislature must be held accountable for delivery on the state's paramount duty to provide ample funding for all K-12 children. In all of our work, we're required to use data and have evidence of our effectiveness. Yet those setting policy randomly pass rules and regulations with no evidence of effectiveness and detract us from the real work. It's time the voice and experiences of professional educators like yourselves take the lead in promoting policy and statute that ensures that public schools continue to fulfill their role as the cornerstone to our democracy. We need to rely on each other to grow our repertoire of knowledge and skills. Whether your professional growth needs are related to TPEP or Common Core, maybe it's some leadership or systems change, maybe it's some management strategies, WASA provides that ongoing support and has systems in place to be able to meet each of us wherever we're at. That needs to continue. In every challenge is a new opportunity. I'd like to share a little story with you. The story is an old Italian gentleman from New Jersey who was struggling to figure out how he would plant his annual tomato garden. The ground had become very hard, and his age was up to where his declining health and his strength made it impossible for him to reach the goal of planting that tomato garden. His son, who used to help him every year, was spending a little time in prison. The old man writes a letter to his son. Dear Vincent, I'm feeling very sad. Looks like I won't be able to plant my tomato garden this year. I'm just too old and frail. I know if you were here, you'd be happy to dig my plot, just like in the old days. I sure miss you. Love, Papa. A few days later, a letter arrives from Vincent. Dear Papa, don't dig up that garden. That's where the bodies are buried. Love, Vinny. Early the next morning, the FBI, the local police show up at the old man's house with a search warrant. They spend the whole morning digging up the area only to find nothing. Obviously, our intelligence format was misguided, and we apologized that we weren't able to find anything. And they left the old man's home. The same day, a letter arrives from Vinny. Dear Papa, now you can go ahead and plant the tomatoes. It's the best I could do under the circumstances. So no matter how bleak things look, our capacity to lead and find new strategies is dependent on our own moral purpose, our commitment to education, and the courage to stand up for what we really believe. We have planted a lot of seeds. It's time for us to dig up the dirt. Teachers, principals, and administrators are doing heroic work. I'm confident that together we can turn these challenges into new opportunities, just like Vinny did for his dad. I have a heart for leadership, trust, and advocacy. I'm willing and able to serve you. Thank you.